And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Strategy Show. It is Wednesday, September 25th. I'm Josh Engleman. I'm breaking it all down. 9-game slate, I believe. Is that right? 9-game slate. I am correct. Oh, happy to be done with yesterday. Should have been a different day for me. Ended up not being so. The Giants were one of my most owned stacks. That was good. That saved me. Lots of homers there, 11 runs. Unfortunately for me, I had 94% Bailey Ober, who just had one really bad inning and it killed him. Gave up the homer, single, double, and that killed him, which was really, really awful for me. Because of the Giants, I was actually able to crawl back to basically neutral, which is kind of crazy. If Ober breaks differently, I probably have a pretty nice profitable day. Definitely sneak one into like the top 50 or something. I think I finished like just outside of 100, like 105, 110, something like that. A better performance out of Bailey Ober pushes a stack of lineups into the top 100. So a little frustrating there. What are you going to do? It was the best spot. I don't regret it in any way. The moment I saw it, though, I knew. I pasted. I sent my normally at lock. Adam and I send our exposures to each other. Nothing's changed, guys. I still love them. But we usually talk a little bit about what we got to. The moment he saw my Bailey Ober exposure, he was like, "Oh, I stacked was it the Marlins? Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I stacked the Marlins against your pitcher. This is going to be great." Happened almost immediately. But we got a lot to break down today. I got to grab top stacks, top pitchers from the stochastic model. I assume my sim is done. It is. So we're ahead of the game today. Let's grab top pitchers. And then I'll switch the screen over so you guys can see what I'm doing. But good morning. Hit the like button if you're here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. If you're watching on Twitter, you probably already follow me. But if you don't somehow, but you got there anyway, follow me on Twitter. Because we got NBA coming up in a couple weeks. Built around the A's, Padres, Mariners. Yeah, Jake, I don't think I've refreshed that pivot table. So I was a little bit over on the Cardinals, a little bit over on the Twins, big stand on the Red Sox, which wasn't great, the Angels, the Giants, and then the Padres. Here's a random question. Is playback stuff coming back with NBA? As far as I know, yes. I mean, technically, I don't think it went away, but yeah, I think all the playback stuff is going to look a lot like it did last year. As far as I know. As far as I know. I haven't heard anything different, and I think it's even stronger now than it was. All right, I got top pitchers and top stacks in. I'm running my final sim, so I think we can get started. All right, how about now? I think we're good. I set something up differently today, and I'm guessing I did that incorrectly. I'll let chat let me know if I'm not muted again, but I think I'm good. Yeah, I figured. I tried to set it up so I can go on just me to start the day, but I moved a little quickly this morning. All right, we back. I was just talking about the Cardinals. They're the number one stack. They're number one for me. They're number one for Stochastic. I am higher on the Cardinals than we are. Highest implied total on the slate, ignoring Colorado. They're 0.7 of a run ahead of the Diamondbacks. They're a full run ahead of the Twins and basically like a run and a half ahead of everybody else. So they're going to be popular again today. They should be. I have absolutely no problem whatsoever getting to St. Louis. I would be shocked if I'm not at least neutral to the field because they're great filler. They're easy to get to. Their first five guys in the lineup, short, catcher, first, third, and an MPE second and outfield. And that says nothing for like wanting to go to Jordan Walker against Gomber. They just look really good. In particular, those first four guys, Wynn, Herrera, Goldschmidt, Arenado, even at like 15% ownership, I think Mason Wynn is under-owned. I think Paul Goldschmidt is under-owned. I think Nolan Arenado is a little under-owned. I'd like to get to more of these guys. But I assume I end up in that like 13% range. The real team we need to talk about is on the opposite side. Colorado, because they're so expensive, are fully broken in ownership. They are 13th out of 18 teams today at just 4%. No one is more than 6% owned. I think basically this entire team is under-owned. I just don't know how easy it's going to be to get to them. I think you might be able to roll the dice on like a Rockies Edward Cabrera combo, which not going to be a fun one to sweat. Outfield short, outfield third, second, first six. So they're relatively easy to get to positionally. It's a salary problem here. Doyle at 5,900, Toglia at 52, Tovar at 56, McMahon at 51. These guys are priced to be in cores, and they do not show up as a good value. They're probably the worst lineup on the slate today. But I think their top stack odds are dramatically higher. Even if you factor in their negative value rating, I think these guys are under-owned. I'm going to do my best to build them out in the sim tool when we get there, probably about 20 minutes or so. You guys can get that tool by signing up, clicking the link in the description of this video. Whether you want it on the MLB side, the NFL side, every side, you can sign up very easily by clicking the links in the description. I'm fascinated by Colorado. It's possible we just don't have enough salary savings at pitcher to make them be interesting. I think they're an incredibly awesome contrarian stack where you pay up to get to a different ownership tier. The other team that's pulling big top stack odds is the Diamondbacks. I have them third. The website has them third. So call it somewhere in the like 9 to 10% range. They're also pretty expensive with Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte at the top of the lineup. So they are either 11th or 12th in top value. They're 5th in ownership. But really, Corbin Carroll's coming in at 12%, under-owned in my opinion. And the rest of these guys are all in like the 5 or 6 range. This is another team that I think is more interesting than what their ownership shows. But again, you're paying up to get it. Not as easily stackable. Outfield, second, outfield, first, outfield. So a little heavy on the outfield sides. You don't really want to go to like Perdomo in the 9-hole. I think Eugenio Suarez is probably like the floor. I don't love getting to Gabriel Moreno. But I think the Diamondbacks still good. It's really only a park thing. They really limit power here. But of the top 3 teams, like I think they're in the proper order of Cardinals, Rockies, Diamondbacks. The salaries for the Rockies and the Diamondbacks will be the tricky part. I did see that the Padres clinched the playoffs with a triple play. I didn't see the triple play though. But when I opened the MLB app this morning, to look at like box scores and stuff. It's usually the first thing I do. I wake up, I close my eyes as much as I can. Usually I can't see very well because I slept in my contacts, but I try to make sure that I don't see the DraftKings pop-up alert of how much I won. I want to get snuck into that. So then I open the MLB app. I look at the box scores. I saw that the Giants did well, so I knew that I probably like salvaged a little bit. I didn't really care too much once Ober got fucking destroyed. But yeah, then I open the MLB app. I scroll through. Then I open the DraftKings app and I cover the top of it so I can't see the change in my balance. And then I pull open the contest to see if I had anything jump to the top. But when I opened the MLB app, the leading news story in the MLB app was the Padres turning the triple play. So I did see that it happened, but I haven't watched it. All right, I just finished my sim. So we touched on those first three teams. Let's see what I'm actually getting to. Now I'm going to predict it first. The Red Sox, as per usual, are looking like a team I might get to because of the ownership going to Kevin Gausman. Maybe the Padres again. Doubt I get to the Mets. Doubt I get to the Giants. But I did get to the Giants yesterday, so who knows? Let's find out. All right, sim is finished. Let me run my lineup selector. Done. All right, let's see what we've got. I'm feeling good. I like this slate so far. I think I'm going to be able to get to exactly what I want to get to. I think today's going to look a lot like yesterday, where I'm going to be around the field to maybe large on one of the Rockies, Cardinals, and Diamondbacks, but relatively neutral for those guys. And then I think I have like 2 or 3 teams that I like 2x. That's my expectation when I paste this in. Yeah, we got a lot of like potential weather bullshit today too. Not something I really touch on the morning show. That's more of a live before lock thing. You just never know. All right. Exposures. Big stand on the Cardinals. Relatively neutral to the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. So that all happened exactly like I would have expected. I am jamming the Mets. So we're going to get to them next. 2xing the Red Sox, which is what I expected. And then I have 10% of the White Sox and 10% of the Angels, which are both a little bit over the field. Didn't get to the Padres, didn't get to the Giants. But the next team that we have to look at is definitely the Mets. What do you guys think about the New York Mets today taking on Chris Sale? I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that no one else is looking at the Mets the way that I'm going to look at the Mets today. No one wants this spot. Sale is absolutely incredible. The park isn't amazing, but Iglesias, who I bet Jose Iglesias to homer today. I'm just going to leave that one there. He was plus 1,400. But, anytime you can target Chris Sale, you should probably do that. Ooh, Jake DeWitt. Sale's fastball velocity was down in his last start. I'll be honest, that kind of stuff scares me. And I know you're saying, anecdotal for what it's worth. I'm not putting this on you. I need to see it over more than one start, and I generally want to see it in more than one ballpark. You never know if those radar guns are calibrated correctly park to park. Not saying that like they become wild, but like, if that wiggles by a half mile per hour, like things could start to look a little bit different. Let's just look at it. Bump it to first. You think that Jose Iglesias is going to lead off the game with a homer? Jake, I think it's already hard enough to assume that he's going to homer in general. All right, let's look at Sale. Did that really happen? Not that I'm telling you that you're making it up. That's not what I mean either. But let's just look at it. Right. I agree that it's worth paying attention to. No disagreement there at all. So let's look at velocity here. Okay, so like it was 95.9 against the Dodgers, down to 92.7 for Cincinnati. But it was also in the 93s for Toronto and Colorado. Like that stretch right there is really interesting to me because they're all in Atlanta. 93, 93 and a half, 95. And it was sitting 95 here for a bit. What do we read into these 3 out of 4 93s? That is interesting to me. Very interesting to me. Movement any different? All right, no real difference in the horizontal movement. No real difference in the vertical movement. Look, it is there. And yeah, Conscious just hit it too. Very realistic chance that like this doesn't happen today or tomorrow. So we have to be very aware that we might not get this game in general. Going to be one that you got to pay attention to later, but I'm at least a little curious. Well, there's one thing to pay attention to. Fastball percentage down quite a bit. Did throw his slider quite a bit more over these past 2 games than he did for 6 straight starts of around 3%. Actually, sinkers. My apologies. But the point still stands. He's averaging 38% fastballs. Did drop to 32 last start. I'm curious. It does make me feel better about getting to the Mets. So I'm getting Iglesias, Marte, Vientos, Pete Alonso, and then it's scattered for the rest of these guys. Look, there's a lot of power in this lineup. And Sale is going to face a sea of righties. But Vientos, Alonso, Martinez, Taylor, Francisco Alvarez. Like, if Sale is just a little off, and you can sneak a guy on every once in a while, and those maybe potentially solo homers become 2-run homers, it's really all it takes. And if you can get to Sale early, even better. Am I confident in the Mets? No. I have them 15th in top stack. Stochastic has them dead last. They're not that great of a value either. Clayton, you can. Chris Sale does not strike me as a pitch to contact guy if you're ahead or behind, though. With that kind of stuff, I don't think you can pitch to contact. I think all you're going to do is just end up leaving yourself 1 ounce over the plate. I could be. What do I know, though? I think the Mets are a little underrepresented, and the leverage you get of a 30% owned Sale is no joke. I will add, I am equal to the field on an $11,100 Chris Sale. So like when I don't have Sale, I got a better chance of getting to the Mets, but he's expensive and I'm getting him. So like I said, I've got a lot of the Mets. They are my second most owned team. The third most owned team is the White Sox. I think we could take a look at the White Sox and the Angels combined because I have 23% of my exposure going to this game. And this is where you go for value. The White Sox are the number 1 value stack today. They're number 1 on Stochastic. They're number 1 for me, around 20% chance of being the top value. They only have 1 guy north of 3,500. They have 6 guys in the lineup today that are sub 3K. They're relatively easy to stack positionally as well. They suck. Like, don't get me wrong, they're terrible. Jose Suarez going for the Angels. He sucks too. I mean, Davis Martin going for the White Sox. He sucks. I'm getting to the Angels. They suck. Neto, Ohapi, Moniak, Taylor Ward, all those guys look decent to me. Although, here's the problem with the Angels, and I guess to a degree, the White Sox. The Angels are the second most owned team on the slate. The White Sox are fourth. So, in order to get to your Chris Sales and your St. Louis Cardinals, like, you got to pay down somewhere, and it appears that the field is going to pay down with the White Sox and Angels. The field is also getting to Jose Suarez and Davis Martin around 10%. This is a really dynamic game. It is screaming out to me that it's going to be 5-4, and the pitchers both suck, but neither of the offenses are worth a shit. I'm really scared about getting to the White Sox and Angels. I don't like that they're pulling ownership. But we're talking about the number 1 value stack and probably the number 2 value stack and the number 2 and 4 owned teams. So keep an eye on these two because this is not a comfortable spot to be. I really don't like it. I'm not happy with this exposure. I would like to be on a different game, but I think this is just a testament of how you can pay down and the point per dollar bonuses you get here. Yeah, Kokanowitz and Gannon did both deal. I had the under on Kokanowitz strikeouts. That didn't help me in any way. Do you guys like the White Sox or the Angels? I'm really nervous about the ownership here. Like, you know, obviously, like, Lou Bob is the only one getting it on the White Sox north of 10%. That's fine. Taylor Ward, Zach Neto, and Ohapi are north of 10% on the Angels. That's terrifying. I don't like any of this. I hope this goes away. I really do. And then for the Red Sox, the other team that I am 2x the field on, or at least close to it, you've got Kevin Gausman getting 20% ownership. Oh, boy. Okay. So I have 11% of the Red Sox. I also have 54% exposure to Kevin Gausman. Just to put it out there right now, Kevin Gausman, my most exposed pitcher, very close to Nestor Cortez, and then it's Sale. But those three guys are making up 70% of my pitching exposure. Sale, Gausman, Cortez. We'll take a look at those other guys. We'll take a look at Cortez in a bit. But as I look at it, I want the Red Sox side because there's so much power at the top of their lineup. Duran, and stolen bases for Duran too. Gonzalez, MPE for 3,200. Yeah, Brandon, that's how I feel. That won't be what I do. Well, I mean, it might be what I do, but I would like to not have it. Tristan Casas looks good. Trevor Story looks shitty, but a $3,900 shortstop. I get the appeal here. There are definitely strikeouts in the Boston lineup. I think that Kevin Gausman is probably the second best pitching option today. And, Sale is obviously a different can of worms altogether because he's 11-1. He's $1,500 more expensive than the second most expensive pitcher on today's slate. So that just kind of changes your construction. But I really like that Gausman-Cortez duo for today. Yankees against the Orioles. We'll take a look at Cortez in a second. Look, Kevin Gausman is not the Kevin Gausman of old. And I don't have him projected as such. I have him with a much lower strikeout rate than what is projected. His 2024 has been massively underwhelming in a strikeout sense compared to 2023. And I'm taking that into account. But there are a lot of strikeouts in this Red Sox game, that's for sure. And 8,600 for Kevin Gausman just feels like a price tag to attack. Where do we have Kevin Gausman projected? Do we have him as a value the same way I do? So on the main slate, we have Chris Sale projected highest, clearly. But We have Gossman at 16.5. I have him at 18. I have Gossman as the second highest projected guy. I actually have him ahead of Jack Flaherty. Obviously Flaherty in a really terrible spot against the Padres. So I'm more than okay not projecting Flaherty well. We have Gallen, Cease. We have Gallen and Cease both ahead of him. I have Gallen basically the same. I'm way lower on Cease. Same story as Flaherty. Like, look, Dylan Cease is incredibly talented, but 9,300 against the Dodgers. I think other things are just going to look better than that. Like, the Dodgers have a 4.2 run implied total. I have the Orioles a half run below that. So I'm a pretty big believer in Kevin Gossman today. We like Jose Suarez way more than I like him, but I like Edward Cabrera way more than we do. Interesting balance. But you can see, I'm not really getting to the bottom all that much. It's Cabrera. It's a little bit of Davis Martin. That's about it. It's really just basically Gossman and Cortez, or one of those guys plus Sale as my most likely combinations right now. Bob the Builder says it's Bradford and Pray for me today. Honestly, I think he's under-owned. I actually like that call, Bob. I like Bradford here. The problem for me for Bradford is that I just like Gossman more. I'm really hoping that shifts a bit and I can get to more Bradford. And it's part of the reason I'm not getting to as much Zach Gallen, who's technically the second highest owned guy on the slate. But I'm going to have trouble getting to Gallen if I can save money for Gossman and Cortez, and I think they're the same thing. Even Bradford, to me, looks better than Gallen. I mean, Zach Gallen being twice as owned as Cody Bradford, I think is wrong. I think Bradford looks better than Gallen. Now, we don't. Stochastic has Bradford 4 points behind Gallen, whereas I have it basically the same. So I am definitely team Bradford today, even if my exposures aren't showing it. Basso versus Texas. Yeah, I don't have any. I don't see that one at all. Not a team Basso guy today, that's for sure. And Jason Gordon wanted to know, do I have any love for Oakland? Not really. I only got to 3%. That's what they're owned. I do like the ownership against Bradford, but at the same time, I think Bradford's under-owned. I mean, you could see it right here. We have him 9% to be a top 2 pitcher. I basically double that. Yeah, I don't see the Basso one. A's bats I'd be more interested in just because of how much power they have. I don't have it really. I bet Langoliers and I bet Daz Cameron to homer. But as I see it, Oakland's really not my team. Red Sox, Mets, White Sox, Angels, Cardinals, Diamondbacks to a degree. They're making up 75% of me. Oh yeah, Bob, I'm with you there. Like, boom bust for Bradford. If the ball stays in the yard, and it tends to stay in the yard in Oakland, like this could be a really good day for Cody Bradford. But, getting through Rooker, Langoliers, Geloff, Cameron, Nevin is tough. And then, like I mentioned, I have a lot of Nestor Cortez. I really like the price point. I think he's under-owned. How are the Baltimore Orioles against lefties? Orioles active roster against left-handed pitchers this season. Baltimore is 12th in strikeout rate, 107 WRC plus. So, not the most fun spot in the world. They're going to run out 7 righties against Cortez. Cortez's biggest issues. We're looking at a 136 X ISO this year to lefties, 180 to righties. I mean, there's definitely some downside on Nestor Cortez. However, that implied total for the Orioles is really standing out to me. I am a little bit higher on Cortez. Maybe we find out that this projection comes down a little bit later and it neutralizes him a little bit for me. Or maybe his ownership comes up and it neutralizes him a little bit for me. But 8,300 for Cortez today? Based on the run totals there in New York for the Orioles, I think that looks pretty good. What's the weather there? 66 degrees at first pitch. So not exactly hot. O's are probably hungover. Let's hope. Yeah, maybe we get a shittier Orioles lineup. Who knows? But I'm happy with Cortez. So let's sum it up. Favorite stacks. Mets, if you want to get extra weird. Cardinals, obviously, as the best team today. White Sox and Angels, if you need value. Red Sox, if you want a little leverage and you want something in sort of the middle of the pack. Top 3 pitchers, Kevin Gausman, Nestor Cortez, and Chris Sale. So we've hit top stacks. We've talked a little bit about the pitching. I believe you guys know what's coming up next. You guys should hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff, because the czar is in the building, folks. The czar is in the building. I am going to build out lineups using our sim tool. Our single game sim tool is the best thing that we have ever made at Stochastic. Build out your lineups by hand, but also get the advanced data you're looking for to find out if what you did is worth a shit. Because anybody can build a highly projected lineup, but does that highly projected lineup work for you in contests? Nobody does this better than me. We're looking for 70% plus. Let's see what we can do. And the first spot that I'm going, because I have to try it, the New York Mets, which means right out of the gate, I'm going to start with my 2 pitchers. Now, I don't expect this to look good because I like Nestor Cortez more than we do. And I really like Kevin Gausman more than we do. So I'm going to go Cortez and Gausman. And now I'm going to grab the Mets. I'm fascinated by whether or not this builds out well. And honestly, I might need to take a look at David Peterson over Cortez, but we'll have that conversation in a second. I might just want the synergy. Because if I'm going to expect the Mets to blow up Sale, decent chance Peterson can get a win in that spot. But let's look at the Mets. So, guys I have to get to. Starling Marte. Mark Vientos, who does not project like a good value play. And Pete Alonso. Those 3 have to go in to start. I'm going to hope I can get... Wait, did I take those pitchers out? How did I manage to do that? Cortez, Gausman. Okay. Back to the Mets. So I need 2 more from the Mets. While I don't think Francisco Alvarez looks good, I like bringing a catcher along for the ride. And then I might as well go with my boy Jose Iglesias. So we have 4,200 for a shortstop and 2 outfielders. Mason Wynn, come on down. Jordan Walker, come on down. All right, first we're going to look at a 5-2-1, and then I can get Lou Bob in here as well. 91-94. 88-72. I have no idea what this is going to be. I either knocked it out of the park or it's like negative 15. $29.5. Exact opposite. Middle of the pack. Middle of the pack. Bob the Builder, you can't bat Acuna leadoff. He's not good. You can't do that. I don't care what he's done so far. You can't bat him leadoff. He had a 299 on base percentage in AAA this year, over 580 plate appearances. You got to bury that dude in the 8 or 9 spot. I'm not saying that he can't just catch lightning in a bottle. There's obviously like high-end athletic talent here, but yeah, you cannot bat him leadoff. All right, so we got to 29.5. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure we can make that better. I don't even know where I would go to do that. Like, the best shortstop available is Mason Wynn. But to go to Mason Wynn, you end up, you don't have the same support from the Cardinals outfielders. Like, outfield, we need at least like 8 fantasy points per outfielder. So maybe we can go Doyle, Blackmon. Oh, if we do that, we can't. There's literally not a shortstop we could roster. So is there a team that allows us to get close? Angels? Ward, Moniak, Neto? 89 and 77? Yeah, that ain't going to get it done. Oy vey, this is rough. All right, let me change the pitching up a little bit. I need an outfield combo with decent value. I need another Cardinals guy. Does SWR look okay today? I forgot he was on the slate. I did get 8%. I think that's about where he should be. Where can I grab 2 outfielders that don't suck? And get a decent shortstop. Win, Tovar, Neto, Correa? Is that it? Is it Minnesota? Do we go Correa? Buxton, Larnack? And then I can do 2 pitchers? Now we can't do Sale. I mean, in theory, we could do Woods Richardson here, and like Flaherty. What does that look like? 89.4, but 62 ownership. So we gave up 2.5 points, but we did cut ownership pretty massively, probably more than we needed to. I don't think I'll continue with this SWR Flaherty line, but we'll see. Brandon, I don't disagree on Cabrera. I'm starting to think that the Mets are a harder sell than I was expecting. I can't go Sale, so it's got to be Gallon, Suarez. Woof. It's going to be better than the last time, but like I don't advocate for Jose Suarez in any way. I'll try out Steven. I'll try your lineup here, and then I'll try Jake's quickly. Then I'll get back to me trying to do my own. Don't think we're squeezing out the value from the Mets. I think it's too far at the bottom. We'll see what that means for what my exposures end up looking like. So let's go Kevin Gossman, Edward Cabrera, Fortes, Toglia, Steven, you spelled the first 3 hitters wrong. Fontes, Yoglia, and Rogers without the D. That does not help me in any way. And Tovar. Did you do this shit on purpose? Did you close your eyes? McMahon, Tovar, Doyle, Sanchez, and Conine. All right, I'll let it go. 83, 3, and 57, 98. Yeah, not expecting much here. Probably in the 10, 15, 20 range. It's very clear to see what the issue is here, and it's just that you're not taking on enough ownership. And maybe I'm wrong. Well, I mean, we'll see when the number pops up. You're not taking on enough ownership, and you're giving up too many fantasy points. Fortes has to go. Sanchez has to go. Conine has to go. That doesn't necessarily help us here. Like, value is a problem. Highest projected catcher is Herrera. Best value catcher is Corey Lee. I think we can maybe take a look at like Ohapi, Moniak, Gustavo Campero. You see how that changed now? We ate a little bit of ownership, but those are the better point per dollar plays. We're almost up to the 91-94 I had before, but we do have 18% less ownership. I actually think this might be the better lineup. And honestly, we can probably improve it by getting off a Gossman who doesn't project as well for us as he does for me. Like, if I change Kevin Gossman's projection to 18 or something, it's going to look a lot better. If I pull Gossman, because he's not the highest projected guy that we can get, it actually is Nestor Cortez at lower ownership. And I save 300. So if I put Cortez in, can I change Camparo? Yeah, like Camparo projects the worst. I might actually be able to grab Kyle Stowers here. 91-1. So 0.8 of a fantasy point below what we had. 22% lower ownership. This could pop. I just don't know if the 5-2-1 is going to hurt it. Wow, I expected so much more. All right. Do we want to see a big number now? Jake, I'm going to hit yours after I do one more on my own. I'm going to the Cardinals because I think they're that under-owned. And I think it's going to be a lot easier to find low-owned guys after a Cardinals stack. So, we're going to go Mason Wynn, Goldie, there we go. Goldie, Arenado, Jordan Walker, and it's got to be Herrera, even though I don't love it. So that looks fine to me so far. And we are going on a point per dollar basis. This is as good as it gets. What we need is a low-ish owned second outfielder. Best value second baseman is Kyle Farmer. We might be able to make Minnesota work here. Let's try it. I think we'll be able to upgrade this, but I want to try it here. Kyle Farmer. Larnack again. And Buxton. We have 84 for each pitcher. Technically, we can go to Sale. But then we have to go to Gomber, which doesn't work. So we can't go to Sale. So I'm going to go to Zach Gallen. If we go to Gallen, then it's got to be Suarez. So I'm going to drop down from Gallen then. I might as well grab Eric Fede, fourth best value pitcher, and get sinks with the Cardinals. That lets me get Jack Flaherty. So now, look at the difference in ownership and fantasy projection for this. We gained 12 and a half fantasy points from 91-94 with a Mets stack to 104-2 with a Cardinal stack. We also increased ownership by 37. But you gotta, like, when we start with the Mets and we show what like the bottom is, you have to know then what the top is, what you can actually get to fantasy points wise at the top. Boom. Boom. 70.2. That's how important fantasy points are, because you can make lineups that are good with lower FP, but it's really hard to get far away from the top. Like, I think the low end is really in that like 96, 97 range. That's where you're going to really hit the best possible lineups. And we could easily improve this. Like, I would not be surprised at all if I could take out Minnesota and go a different way. Clayton says Toronto has some cheap lefties going against Dick Fitz. If we go second baseman Toronto and get Davis Schneider, outfield Toronto for Springer and Lukes. In this case, we probably go to Kevin Gossman and Jose Suarez. 100.3, 119. Yeah, this is going to be a little lower. This is going to be a little bit lower. We're not going to get to 70 here. I should have saved that last one too. Shit. Probably be like 40, 35. Yeah, okay. So I tried out Toronto there. I want to try one more here on this St. Louis stack to see if we can make it look a little bit different. Who's the best value second baseman? Because we went to Farmer before. Okay. Can we go Romy Gonzalez? Because we still have 10 minutes to go before we have to turn it over. By the way, let me hit on the schedule for the rest of the day. And Jake, don't worry, I will get to that lineup, I promise. Schedule for the rest of the day. Is that today? It is. NFL strategy show coming up next. You get Laffy, you get Greg. They're going to build some lineups, talk NFL week 4. Man, this NFL season already feels like it's moving quickly. And then Greg is back tonight with Eric for MLB Live Before Lock. All right, Romy Gonzalez in, Yoshida in, Duran in. Gonna be tough salary-wise for pitchers. If we take Jose Suarez, the best guy we can get after Suarez is Nestor Cortez, which I don't hate. I do not hate that. Although, wait, 6K, 66. I need 600 more. Oh, I'm $100 short. I'm $100 short to get to Cortez there. That sucks. All right, so Suarez Cortez gets us to 101.5 and 120. I really wanted to go Fede Cortez, but we lose $100. All right, 49, not bad. All right, let's hit Jake's lineup here. Basso, Gallen. That's a different start. Alvarez. So we're going back to the Mets in some way. So Mets, Cardinals. We got Alvarez. We get Goldie, Iglesias, Vientos, Win. We don't have Burleson. We don't have Burleson projected in. So I'll leave Burleson out for right now. We can grab Marte and Taylor. Best outfielder we could grab that's left would be Jordan Walker, but we leave way too much salary on the table then. If I put Buxton in, that just spends everything. 93.5, 91.5. It's probably going to be like 2 or 3 fantasy points lower than what we need. Just make it Donovan then. Okay. Yeah, 15 there. If I make it Donovan, 92, 2, and 89. Yeah, this is still going to be in that like 20% range, I think. We really need to have the projection be in that. It's got to be like 95 plus. I'll take your 5-man Mets stack. I'm going to get extra weird here and go Eric Fede, Sale. That gives us 4,400. Can we go? Oh, I can't go Sale. Shit. God, I'm dumb. We'll go Fede Gallon. Down, we're at 5,100. Okay, that really lets us go nuts here. I wonder. Oh, who is the 3-man that unlocks here? Actually, Mason Wynn, Paul Goldschmidt, Jordan Walker? No, Jordan Walker is way too cheap. Who's the best? I could put Corbin Carroll in that lineup. Gotta check it. 93.5 and 91. Yeah, it's still not going to be enough. It's going to be better than what we got on the first run because we did bump up projection and barely move ownership. So in terms of a Met stack, that does look a little bit better. Yeah, 43. We're gaining on it here. We're gaining on it here. Win is that guy. What if we go Tovar, Toglia? Ew. Sam Hilliard? 87 and 54. That's going to be too low. That's going to be way too low. I'm going to try to sneak one more in here. Yeah, negative 35, as expected. Gave up way too many fantasy points there. I wonder if I can go win Corbin Carroll and then... Does Christian Walker change that in any way? Probably not. This is going to be the last one, folks. Guys, thank you for being here. Another fantastic MLB strategy show in the books. I'm back tomorrow. I don't know what the schedule looks like. Should check it quickly because you never know. Yeah, 19%. Look, we hit our 70% as we are wont to do. Okay, tomorrow, 12:30 game, 1 o'clock game, 1 o'clock game, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I am likely going to do an early live before lock tomorrow. I'm guessing we get a 6-gamer. Maybe we get a 5 and they leave out Brewers Pirates, but only a 4-game night slate tomorrow. So I assume I'm going to do live before lock, at which point, if it's a 12:30 start, I'll go live at 11:30. We will have to work around NFL Showdown, but I think we'll be okay there. If it's 1, then I'll probably go live at noon. But yeah, get ready. Tomorrow's probably going to be a little bit different because of the slate size. Guys, thanks for being here. Like button on your way out the door. I'll see you guys tomorrow.